Alrighty boysies, how's it going? How is it going this fine day? We're coming to you live from Industrial Manland Home Video Store. And you know what boys, time for another episode of Mikey Pitches. So, for those who don't know me, I'm well into my hero shooters. I fucking loved Overwatch, I got so into it. And if you can't tell from my background, I also love Marvel Rivals. Now I'm also a big Marvel Comics fan, so this is just like this is something I've been pitching for ages. I literally had written a fucking note in like 2016, make Overwatch but with X-Men. So we kind of got close to that. So here we go, we'll have a wee gander. So I've got the roster here, and I've got my pitches for the roster as well. So we've got all the guys. We've got Tank, Duelist, or Vanguard, Duelist, and Support and Strategist. Nearly said Support there. But I'm going to be giving you my pitches now. I have not looked at what characters have leaked because I know there has been a data mine with leaks of them recently. And I've not seen. I know Ultron's coming at I think it's the end of this month, about the halfway point for the season. Looking forward to him. He's going to be a support from what I've heard. Game needs more supports because as you can see right now, we're getting a bit heavy in the damaging. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 characters that I pitched. I want to come up with some more, but the problem is a lot of Marvel characters are very like spin-offs of characters. Like for example, I would love to have Miles Morales in this. If you can make him different enough from Peter, fantastic. But there's a lot of characters that are just like variations on other ones, you know. And I love what they've done with characters like say Emma Frost to make her drastically different. But let's go with my first pick. So my first character I'm pitching is we'll go from the level of this character's probably gonna get into it to this character's got no chance. But my first one is Jean Grey Phoenix. So I would make Jean Grey a support. Make her more based around. Actually, I'd do something interesting. I'd make her a support DPS hybrid, kind of similar to Adam Warlock, but only maybe she heals, but instead of but her ult is her transforming to Dark Phoenix, and then she goes on a big DPS rampage. You know, kind of similar to how she works in Ultimate Marvelous Capcom 3 or just Marvelous Capcom 3 in general. And I think I fucking love her, and she's my main in that game. So I think she could be a really interesting character to play. Also, I love what they've done with Emma Frost, making her more of a tank. That was really interesting. So I'm really interested to see what they could do with Jean Grey. She's one that I think will more than likely get added. So, and let's go. Let's add Jean Grey here into the strategist camp. Right now, next up, let me just get this loaded up. Oh, who are we going now? Right, so we're with a healer. Let's go with someone who I think might get added, because the game's really superhero heavy. It'd be interesting to add in Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, or you could go Hobgoblin, how you feel, or All Hallows Eve if you're feeling especially interesting. But no, I'd say Green Goblin now, because the Green Goblin's like obviously Spider-Man's nemesis, but I think could work really well because I'm just thinking right now, looking at the roster right now, there's guys who use firearms like Punisher, but apart from Squirrel Girl who uses her like fires nuts, I don't think there's a character that uses explosives that much. You know, kind of like a Junkrat or a Demo Man or something like that. But you could make them use the pumpkin bombs, and you could have them fly about. Now I don't know if you'd have him like a stationary character or kind of like an Iron Man who's always flying about. You could use the glider as like a dash ability, or you could have it like he's just constantly flying about and make him a big menace. But I think a character who uses explosives is a pretty obvious trope or character class that isn't really featured here. I'm now looking at characters now, shake myself in case there is a character who uses explosives. There's explosive type moves, but there's not that type of character, and I think Green Goblin could fill that quite well. Also, get the quota of villains up. So what I'm going to do is, again, just going to add Big Norm. I'm going to make him a duelist because I feel that's the best way for him. The best way to let that character go, because okay, he's not going to be a tank, he's probably not going to be a strategist, you know. I'll try to even it out a bit, sort of damage-wise or whatever. Oh, right, okay. Now, this one's a bit more personal. So, actually, we'll go with this one. This is one of my favourite X-Men, who I was shocked she was not in the default one. And it's Rogue. Rogue, so this one, I'd probably make her a tank and focus on her, or which would be a DPS. Probably a tank. I'd go with, then I'm going up tank heavy. So we'll probably go with DPS. Make her like similar to Miss Fantastic, but more of a hybrid. So maybe can be tanky, but mainly focus on her flying abilities, her her flying, her super strength, and then maybe add in like, maybe not her ult, but maybe like a kind of similar to if you've ever played her in Marvel's Capcom, where she does a special move, or even like fun enough in X-Men Mutant Academy 2, where she does a special grab and then she can copy one of the abilities from someone. Now it's not like Loki where her whole moveset becomes that character. Just like she can maybe use an ability here and there, like maybe if she does a grab attack on Namor, she like maybe, I don't know, kisses someone and throws him away. She could then use his turret, or if she grabs, say, Wolverine, she'd get his passive, or if she grabs, you know, something like that, and then have an ult where she like cannons up into the sky. Actually, that's a bit similar to like Thor's ult. But anyway, you know what I mean? I'd love to see Rogue added in, mainly because I want my animated Rogue costume, and I want my Goth Rogue from X-Men Evolution costume. But aye, let's add Rogue. Oh, DPS or tank? I'll put in tank because I've not put in a tank yet. I do have a couple of characters that I definitely Oh, spoiler! You seen nothing, boys. You seen nothing. So yeah, I'll put Rogue in as a tank. Actually, you know what? Next up, might as well just go with that one. Might as well go with the one that I've just instantly spoiled here. This is another one that I was quite shocked at, because Marvel Rivals is quite good for getting all the big names in, but obviously had some ones that it's not in. And that's She-Hulk. Now, this She-Hulk's going to be a hard one to try and differentiate to. I don't know, because I'm trying to think, how do you make She-Hulk that different from, obviously different from the Hulk because she's intelligent, smart, and stuff like that. Maybe you could have a bit more of her. She's a weird character in Marvel's Capcom because she's does quite a lot of fourth wall breaking, but she's also got quite a lot of interesting grabs and shit. You could maybe make her a bit of a grappler. Maybe you could make her a bit more of a faster tank, you know, or maybe even just make her a DPS, like a beefy DPS. But this one, I'll be honest, boys, I don't really have a good pitch for She-Hulk as a character. I just want her in there because that's a personal favorite of mine. I fucking love oh fuck, I forget the artist's name. Now, of course, I've literally got it sit beside me. I can't come up with the writer's name. But anyway, I love She-Hulk in the comics. She was always a big member of the Avengers when I was growing up, and I just don't see why She-Hulk's not been put in it yet. Mainly because, like me, she's probably not got a good pitch for her. But oh, I might downgrade Rogue to a duelist and then put her up to a Vanguard, because I think having She-Hulk as a tank makes a bit more sense. Yeah, we'll go with that. So let's both and. Oh, there we go. And we'll do that. We'll move She-Hulk into a Vanguard and make Rogue a duelist. Oh, nah, actually, you know what? Let's make She-Hulk a duelist and Rogue a tank. Because otherwise we're going to end up... Well, again, no, fuck it. 2 tanks, because, let's be honest, the duelists have way too many characters, and they're all the cool characters. There's a reason that everyone picks duelists, because Spider-Man's a duelist, Iron Man's a duelist, all the most popular Marvel characters are all mostly duelists. Like, I tend to play Vanguard or support. I play Vanguard mainly as Magneto because he's my boy, but you know what I mean, like, so let's try and put some more really popular characters in the, you know, in Vanguard and in support. But next character, who have we got? Let's have a wee thinky here. Right. Oh, let's go with a wee bit of a. Let's get this a wee bit of a weird character here. So this character is not super well known, but it's probably more well known for his. Oh my god, this image is massive. 2 seconds, let me just fix this. He's probably well known for his, or more well known for his TV series, and I've only seen a little bit of it, so I'm not super in depth with this character. But we're gonna go with HitMonkey because it's a monkey as a hitman. He's fucking cool. I've seen him in the Howling Commandos a little bit. I've seen a little bit of him in the comics, but he's not like a character I know quite a lot about. But I think having a hyper mobile, probably imagine a Spider-Man, like if you mix the Punisher character and Spider-Man, that sort of speedy character, but make him a fucking glass cannon where he's really powerful but he's got hardly any health. That could be really fun. And I forgot, I haven't even pitched team ups for anyone. Him and Punisher, get him and Punisher teaming up, like kind of similar to how Groot and like Jeff the Landshark can. Maybe something like that. I'd not really thought this out because I realised I've actually got the character with them on a wee notepad, but I've not got any team ups for them. But aye, HitMonkey I think will be added at some point because he's a character that seems to be like strangely popular, and we'll put him in as a duelist. I think it makes sense. Right, now we've only added in 2 damage and 2 tanks, so I think we should add in a support. So who will we have for support? Let's have a think here. Right, This one will be very, very tricky. This one's going to be the trickiest push of them all because I'll be honest, boys, I don't know if they'll go for it. This one's got a lot of legal things around it. But if they can figure it out, boys, if they can figure it out, I think you should get Baymax in. Get Baymax specifically because, again, it so confused me that Big Hero 6 was so successful and so good, and they've just not done anything with Big Hero 6 in the comics. I don't know if it's maybe Disney owns that type, but it's the same parent company, I guess. Maybe there'd be too much green tape to go through with, not green tape, red tape to go through. Green tape, what the fuck's that mean? But anyway, there'd be too much red tape to go through with using this version of Baymax. But yeah, you can just get the version of Baymax from the comics Big Hero 6 and then change him just enough, you know? And I think maybe you could have him, maybe like, we've got characters that are like Julius that are tanky, that could, like, things like Miss Fantastic, but why not get a tanky support, like one that focuses kind of like Reinhardt, you know, has the big shield, or like Magneto kind of that way, but more is maybe focused on defense and supporting people as opposed to Magneto's being more offensive. He can have his ult can be when he turns into, he has that the superhero mode, you know, where he's got the red sort of armor on, he's flying about. You can have like a little bit here and there damage, but I think having a character like Baymax who has no, like, maybe he's only got like he's got no offensive capabilities apart from maybe just a basic hit, but then when he's got his ult he can be a bit more offensive, or he can, you know, but I'd think that'd be really cool. Also, a tanky healer would be really interesting because a lot of the healers are very glass cannony, they're very weak, you know, and I've got a feeling Ultron might be different from that, but we'll see how it goes. So Ultron might actually scratch the itch that Baymax has, but let's go. I'm going to add Baymax into the strategist one, and again, this is one I don't think is going to happen at all because there's so much red tape going on, and Disney are very protective of stuff like that. But then again, fucking Kingdom Hearts exists, so anything can happen, you know? Anyways, who have we got now? So let's add in another strategist, another healer, another one of my boys. So this is one that I being a fan of the X-Men, specifically that sort of 90s era and of X-Men, I'd really like to see Bishop get added. Now, Bishop's powers is, so you can have, this is what a character you can have who is a bit more DPS-y. He can, you know, he can have his big gun, his future guns and shit like that. But his main power is energy, like energy absorption. So if you blast him with something, he can send it back. So he can energize himself with, like, say he could take damage, but then he could either use that to buff his opponents or buff himself. I'm trying to think of a character who this kind of like, you know how Moira in Overwatch, like, more damage she does. That's actually, I'm talking shite. I'm trying to think of it's a character who does like, it's kind of leech abilities, but he uses that to he uses that to support his opponents. He could do something like that with Bishop, and maybe like his ult is like energy overload, where he just fires out a big blast or something like that. Bishop's character I think could be really, really interesting, really cool. Again, 100% you didn't put him as a support because we need more supports. But anyway, let's get Bishop put in there. Right, now, let's go one that I'm actually genuinely surprised hasn't been brought up yet. This one's a bit more of a character who will pop. Oh, never mind, Bishop's still there. This is a character who I'm more surprised hasn't been in yet. Now, one of my favorite comics ever is The Runaways, and the most popular character from The Runaways is Nico Minoru, or Sister Grimm. So Nico Minoru's whole gimmick is that she is a teenage runaway, because she's in the Runaways you get. Our parents were supervillains and all the kids run away and try and be good. Basically, it's a really, really good book written by Brian K. Vaughan, and can't recommend it enough. But Nico Minoru is her parents were magic wielders, and she has this ability to use this thing called the Staff of One. Now, they've changed this in the comics, but she used to have this gimmick where she could only use every spell once. So that's led to her using, like, she'd use Fireball once, then she'd have to be inventive or come up with stuff. So there's a bit I always remember in the comic where they're trying to get from A to B, and they have to transport himself by being on a carriage flown by geese, because, well, she's like, I've ran out of the obvious spells, so might as well use, you know. So this, I think, you can lead to some really interesting ones. They've done it really well in Midnight Suns, with her mainly focusing on, like, debuffs and X's and stuff like that. So yeah, you could have her maybe work kind of similar how to how Brigitte is a smaller version of Reinhardt in Overwatch. Maybe have her as a smaller version of Doctor Strange with more more weird abilities, you know? Like have her where basically an attack she does can do like one of so many things. She's gonna be a horrible character competitively if that's the case, but I think it'd be kind of cool. Like she can have a lot of RNG to her abilities, which I thought would be interesting and kind of fun. So some, you know, maybe it does certain kinds of damage, or maybe it does more damage certain times, or I'm not quite sure. Or maybe when she uses her ult, her ult's maybe got like a third chance of doing healing, damaging, or doing whatever, you know. Or maybe she can have one where I don't know. I don't know. You can just see you can play around with abilities, you know. If you really want to go with a more random spellcasting ability, that'd be kind of interesting in my books. So we'll go with adding her. We'll put her as, well, we have Nico as or Sister Grimm as a duelist or a strategist. I'm not quite sure. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put her, we need more strategists, so I'm gonna put her in the strategist now because you can add in some healing abilities, but we can mainly focus on our more weird. Maybe like our buffs give random, like might heals a little bit, but it might boost attack, might boost defense, might do something like that, dependent. And she's can also damage. I don't know. Again, she's a character I think you could have a lot of fun with designing because, again, Marvel Rivals done a great job taking characters in a very unobvious route, if that makes sense. Characters like Magic, characters like Psylocke, characters like, I'm just looking at ones now off the top of my head, like Storm is really interesting. Emma Frost is one that I'm jumping out at, is really, really fun and interesting. Loki, making them a turret guy is really a really interesting take. So I believe that they can take these characters who in the end of the day could be kind of samey and changing them up a bit to be really interesting. Anyways, we've got 4 more characters to go through. So what character do I want to be my... Let's think. Right, what we'll do... Right, we'll go with this character now. This is a character who had a phenomenal TV show and really should have been featured more than what he was. And I wish this show wasn't cancelled after 1 season. Time for... if you've not noticed the thing, I like characters who are weird. Let's go with Modok. So, Modok can either go one of 2 ways with him in this. You either make him the scariest fucker, pure body horror, you know, terror, or you make him the character from the show who is an absolute joke. I'll go in terms of making him an absolute joke. Maybe even get, what's his name? Oh my god, I forgot his name. He voiced him in the show, he voiced Ratatouille. Oh my god, I forgot his... Anyway, my memory's horrendous. I'm gonna like as soon as I finish recording this video, I'm gonna look up and go scream because I know I can see him in my head. I can see his wee face. Anyways, right. Modok, make him a tank whose main focus is closing off areas of the map. That could be really interesting because in Marvel vs. Capcom, what he does is one of his abilities is he puts cubes down, and those cubes, once you hit them, it absorbs energy and then he powers him up. Because he's a weird fucking character. Go fucking mental with him. Give him the ability to close things off. Give him the ability to maybe use his gadgets because he's Modok's the head of AIM, or one of the heads of AIM, and just make him this, but really funny failure of a character, you know, where he's I don't know, again make him I'm thinking just a sort of tank whose more focus isn't on damage, it's more on just bottlenecking everyone into a certain bit so the damage can do their job. You know, maybe he can close off areas, maybe he can build walls. Well, we'll see how it goes, you know. But I think you should put Modok in there. And also, we need to have a bit where he flies about and can... Maybe that's his ult, as he just flies about, kind of similar to how he does in Marvel vs. Capcom and just headbutts everyone. He's going the tank route. My boy Modok, there we go. Right, now, next one is a bit of a favourite. So, this one is one I'm 100% sure will never get put in. But, thought it'd be kind of cool. So, I'm a big fan of the whole sort of Frank Miller Daredevil run. I also really like Punisher and Punisher Max specifically, and also one of my other favourite ones was Wolverine Origins, and that featured this character who, again, I'm not sure if everyone knows one. His name is Nuke. Nuke is a cyborg who has been worked on so many times he's just completely lost his mind. He was meant to be like a super soldier type thing, but it didn't work and they used him as like a last ditch effort thing. So he a last ditch sort of weapon. He's so fucking creepy. He carves the United States of America into... No, that's a lie. Wolverine does that. Wolverine carves the flag into his face. But you could make Nuke kind of similar to... Is it Malga? Is that his name? From from Overwatch, where he just has, because he basically, Nuke's gimmick is he can't feel pain, and he's got a shit ton of guns and weapons, and he's also a cyborg, so you could kind of have him where he's got like 2 machine guns or 2 miniguns like strapped to his arms. His main thing is charging and locking down the area. Now, I know Malga isn't the best character from Overwatch. In fact, I think competitively he is seen as being terrible. But I was trying to think of the best way to do it. The best way I was thinking about doing this is like, right, what's a character in Overwatch who has a... Because some of the characters, like for example, Star-Lord is kind of similar to Tracer, and you know, so I was trying to think, and you know, Magneto is kind of similar to Reinhardt in the fact he's got a shield, and that's really about it. But you know what I mean, a tank with a big shield that's focused on defending people. So I was like, right, what about Malga? How can we get that sort of character work in there? And I really like Nuke. I think Nuke would be a really fun thing again, just to sort of get more villains in there. So Nuke's one of my choices, and Nuke is definitely a tank. This one you can go design-wise and make him super over the top. You can make him so much bigger. You can give him big, massive guns. Right, so I've got two last ones, and right, we'll go with... Oh, never mind Nuke there. Put him back up. Never mind that. Never mind that. You see nothing. Right. Let's go with a character who I honestly think has been ruined by the movie. A character who I loved the Spider-Man 90s show. That's how I came to see a lot of these characters, you know. That's how I came to, you know, get into comics, was that and the X-Men show and the Batman animated series. But one of the characters that I was interested into that, I believe it was during the Punisher's storyline as well, was Dr. Michael Morbius. Now, you can a vampire character writes for itself. He's a duelist who basically the more damage he puts out, the more powerful he gets. You can maybe he's got more leech abilities, kind of similar to. I was thinking Moira's not even got leech abilities. Oh no, she does kind of heal herself when you damage, but you know he can be focused around that mainly. His leech attacks, basically maybe his health bar is only say 200 normally, you know. But if he gets energy or if he drains it from people, you don't have to go blood. You can go energy like he did in the Spider-Man cartoon where he had like sucklers in his hand or whatever, you know, going and just sucking the energy out of people. Maybe you can boost his energy bar to like 300, 400, you know. But he can only do that once he's damaged people and once he's drained people. And I really like Morbius, but I will not forgive Sony for making that joke of a movie. The same with Kraven the Hunter. Fucking love Kraven the Hunter. Fucking adore Kraven's Last Hunt. I remember I was sitting next to Kieran, one of the guys I stream with occasionally, and we're out talking about comics. I went, oh, I'm really excited. The Kraven the Hunter might be good. I doubt it, but I'm a big fan of the character like in Kraven's Last Hunt and stuff. And Kieran's burst out laughing, going, "You fucking joking that movie?" I was like, yeah. So Morbius is constantly tainted because of it's Morbin time. But anyways, yep, we're gonna put Big Michael Morbius in as a duelist, I think. I don't know how you could sort of play around with him otherwise. And we've got one more character, boys. One more character we're pitching now. I mentioned that one of my favourite comics is Runaways. I also love Avengers Academy, but I seem to have a love for like young heroes finding themselves, you know. And my favourite comic book of all time is Young Avengers. And my favourite character in Young Avengers and also MCU is messing this character up because that third Ant-Man movie was dog shit. But let's get Cassie Lang in as the character I'm pitching. Now, I wasn't sure what to put in as her stature. So stature is what she was known as in the Young Avengers, and basically she was like, so if we don't know, Cassie Lang is Ant-Man's teenage daughter. In the comics, Ant-Man was dead at the time, and she went and found the Young Avengers to try and figure out what was going on and you know, honor her dad. But she'd been sneaking pin particles so she could grow, and she could shrink as well. But hers were tied to her emotions. So what I'm thinking is, they don't have Ant-Man, because I found that weird that Ant-Man or the Wasp or Giant Man or Yellow Jacket or any sort of variation of that codename wasn't in Marvel Rivals, considering Ant-Man's like quite a big character thanks to the movies, and obviously it was one of the first Avengers and stuff like that. But I'd love to have that sort of character in there. I was like, how do we put the Wasp in? The Wasp would be really cool. Do we put in, you know, like what Ant-Man do we put in Scott Lang? Do we put in Hank Pym? Do we put Eric O'Grady in? And I was like, fuck it. This one's a personal choice. We're going to put Cassie Lang in, and we're going to use both of our different, we're going to use Stinger and we're going to use Stature. Stinger was her one she'd taken up after she was resurrected after Avengers Children's Crusade, and she'd taken up the mantle of Stinger. Stinger was her alternate universe self, so they kind of done that to make it match. And basically, she's more like the Wasp when she's Stinger. Like, she can fly, and she's, you know, pew pew wee arm things. So, my thought is, have a hybrid character, have a tank who has a bit, like, basically she can tank in a stature. So she's got a mode where she's default, like, a normal size, and then she goes, whoop, and, like, becomes tanky, like, you know, kind of big. Kind of something about how Miss Fantastic can tank up with full elasticity. Maybe she can charge up and become tanky as fuck for a little bit. And then she's also got a bit where she can fly away using her Stinger ability. So maybe this is close to, like, maybe you press, like, say L1 and she becomes, it's kind of Iron Man's controls, like she becomes more like flying, but she's in Wasp form, and that's when she can be pew pew pew, you know? So the main goal of her would be like pew pew, and then tanking up into stature. That's just my pitch for, that's how I'd work it, but aye. Okay, again, because I find it weird that there's no Ant-Man, and it is a weird one how you'd work it, but there's not really an Ant-Man or a Wasp character, so I thought, fuck it, let's get my sort of vote in there with stature. So, we're just going to go over to this screen, and what we'll do is we'll put her in as a tank. And we'll scroll further down, because now I don't need to hide what's down here. So, there we go. So this is my pitch for, let me get the Wadoosh. There we go, Mikey pitches. Let's get this in a bit where nobody's in the way. Let's just, there we go, boys. So, that's my final pitch for the character. It's for additional characters from Marvel Rivals. So, as in the Vanguard bit, we have Rogue, She-Hulk, Modok, Nuke, and Cassie Lang as tanks. In the Duelist or damage area, we have the Green Goblin, HitMonkey, and Dr. Michael Morbius, or Living Vampire Morbius. And in the Strategist section, or support, we have, I'll just move that up because I realise it's slightly on the way. There we go, slightly on Nico Minoru's head. So in the Strategist or support, we have Phoenix, Jean Grey, we have Baymax, we have Bishop, and then we have Nico Minoru or Sister Grimm as healers. So I thank you for joining us, and you know what? I hope some of these characters get added, but you know what? Let's see what characters you like as well, because I've seen a lot of really interesting ones, and I just fucking love Marvel Rivals. Oh, wrong button. But aye, I'll catch you in a wee bit, boysies. Hopefully, cheers for watching, and aye, take care of yourselves. Sorry for the delay in Mikey Pictures videos. I've been really busy, but I'm hoping to get back to it. So aye, see yous!